you just told me earlier that you filled out the form, and so you believe that to be the initiation of the investigation.
Oh, now you're saying that the form was for the services when you're trying to earlier say that the form, if it wasn't completely filled out, you couldn't start the investigation. Which is it, sir?
So actually, what I'm saying is, I'm trying to summarize what you told me. And you told me that you filled out the form, correct?
Uh-huh, and you asked me if I'd filled it out totally, and I said I didn't remember. There might have been question marks. You said, well, if there was anything vacant that they wouldn't have started the investigation. Now you're claiming that because I went there, I wasn't denied the services, like I said, dovetailing into, more spins.
I'm trying not to spin. I'm trying to make sure that we're both on the same page and we're clear about everything.
Okay, so now, did I receive services that day, or was I denied the services? And if I did receive services, why am I here trying to follow up on that denial of services?
What we're here for is to make sure that we get all the information for you and start the investigative process on your complaint.
Thank you.
Asked me if
Did I receive services that day? Please answer the question so that we can proceed. I've asked you 3 times. I would like the human dignity of a yes or no answer.
You've asked me what?
The first time I went there, after being given the advice by Mark to go there, whether or not I received the services. Was the investigation started? Did they take all the paperwork, or was I illegally excluded and told that I couldn't videotape? And when I asked to state the law, they couldn't even do that.
One, no. The investigation did not start, to answer your question.
So I did not receive the services that day.
When you say services, can you clarify what you mean?
I am a American citizen, disabled, entitled to access and accommodation to receive public services. I followed up on the receipt of that. I got sent to the place to follow up on the receipt of that, and I did not get those public services if I did not get the investigation for whatever circumventional roadblocks may have been set in its place from a deliberate, false, and failing methodology used to risk manage away liability as opposed to any advocacy for the harmed individual, such as my case.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say to you right now is, in order for us to start this investigation, one, we need all the information. We have
I understand.
information here that you've given us. However,
did I receive the services that day? I will continue to ask the question until you answer it.
Well,
Can I say something real quick?
let me just, to answer your question, yes, because you were able to talk to the proper people that conduct the investigation. Now, the problem we have is, one, you've just brought up some concerns. You yourself have just told me you may have put question marks near some of the questions on our form. There's no way we can start an investigation unless we have all the information.
So I did not receive the services that day, nor the second day that when I went in and I was charged by one of your officers, which I have on videotape.
So what we're going to do now is, because you continually interrupt me, Captain Gorwood has some concerns.
Please.
Here's what we'd like to do, Mr. Garza. We'd like to take your complaints. We cannot and will not take complaints in a public area. It's not permissible by law. There's sections in statute which are very specific to personnel files, and as soon as you start complaining about someone, they have a right to privacy pending an investigation. And if you would like to come to an office with us, we are more than willing to take your complaints, forward it along to our investigative services unit. They will open an investigation. If that's the service that you seek, I will be more than happy.
No, the service that I seek, Ms. Gorwood, to be honest with you, is what I'm entitled to by law, which means that I'm able to go to a public agency such as yours and seek the public services and the ability to videotape it. Now, since you have stated that this is all confidential and behind closed doors, that's circumventing my rights. This is public. This has happened to me. I have no issues about the privacy. If you have these laws, I'm glad you gave me this paperwork. I will look into it. I will get back to you, and I'm sure that risk management will continue. I have a lot of questions for you because I wrote them all down. First of all, will you take a copy of these 3 pages
Make copies of these
so that you can have that as the backup for the missing documentation that I was not allowed to give to your investigative division? If you bring me the form, I'll happily fill it out right here, any question marks, or we can discuss it in public so that you can have it in public, and then the follow-up, like you're saying, at that point, once I reviewed the law and everything else and followed up on my rights and, of course, gone to the FBI over the civil rights violation and started a complaint there also, we could go forward without a problem. So,
Yes, I believe we're already moving forward. Just
all
by
right,
having this.
right.
Do you want me to copy these?
Now, before you make a copy, I'd like to start off with my questions.
Hold on 1 second before you continue. So just so that we're on the same page, we're going to make copies of this.
That is correct. Now, what this is, just as it'll be on the video camera, is basically the paperwork from the clerk saying that there's no stay-away order, the paperwork from the DA's office saying that there's no stay-away order, and my IDR to the Department of Public Health asking for this stay-away order, in which they responded that there are no documents responsive to this request.
So that we're clear. and we
Now,
have
also, I don't know, do you want a copy of the videotape, the stay-away tape? Where, your officer denied me my rights at, on 815 at 101 Grove, inclusive of the Sheriff's Department. And also on this tape is a copy of that stay-away order, and I'd like for us to go to 101 Grove today so that I may get a copy of that, because I have it on video as to what they were pointing to, saying was valid, and I was telling them, what if this is bogus? What about my advocacy? And of course, I think I was told there's no duty to me.
Well, your videotape there is going to be part of the investigative process. We're not conducting this investigation, so that we're clear on your videotape. The captain and I are facilitating the initiation of this investigation.
So that means it may not happen? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, I'm confused.
I actually think we're advocating for an investigation to be done.
Does that mean one's going to be done, or does that mean that, you've advocated and said all the right things, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that way?
We don't have any specific facts of your case because we can't go into a private area right now because you're not willing to do that.
These are the specific facts of my case. The videotape is the specific facts. Define facts.
Well,
I'm trying to
actually,
give you the evidence.
One, just so you can see on the videotape, this is a 5-page document stapled that you handed me referencing the email
That's
that
correct.
you received from DPH. This is what I'm taking in my possession right now.
That's
You get
correct.
videotaped, and as you're running the tape, you'll see that
Yes.
you receive it back. So that's 5. This is page 6. This is page 7. What I'm going to do right now is hand it off and have this video copied.
All right. And then at what
Getting
point
it
should
back.
we get the form from 25 Van Ness so that we can see if there's anything that's been left out? So that every I will have been dotted, every T will have been crossed, and there won't be an excuse for not performing, and having a failed methodology.
Well, the methodology we have in place is meant to conform to all of the rules that Captain Gorwood referenced. So, just that we're clear on the tape, it's not that we're trying to not investigate, it's that what it appears to be from your encounter at ISU is that you did not adhere to the rules, the administrative rules they have over there about taking
And
complaints.
when was I warned about these administrative rules? When was I told that they would be in
Actually-
violation of my civil rights to do the public
I
thing?
wouldn't be able to speak to that, but apparently you have it on tape, so.
So
I'm not
apparently
even
I
going-
wasn't. So, this spin that you're saying, we
Actually-
did everything correctly, apparently wasn't done. This is what's harming my soul even more, sir. I'm the victim. And I feel that you're trying to risk manage me as opposed to taking what's in front of you, which is obvious as God, and doing the correct thing.
One thing that I appreciate about the fact that you're videotaping all of this, Mr. Garza, is that it's all on tape, and absent any doctoring of the video, it's very clear that we are being very helpful to you regarding this matter. And
It's
that we
also-
are trying to advocate for you and your interests, and that we are acceding to your request, and that you are circumventing some of our procedures in order to get this done. Because we've already told you you can't videotape some of the things that we've discussed, and we've already opened up some of the issues that you have regarding the investigation in a public area. So,
I'm still confused by these last statements. I'm sorry, you've told me so many things that, just don't make any sense as far as advocacy. You said to me just right now, you've taken these things to follow up on the investigation, but yet that, I might have to do things in a confidential area, then, that's pretty contradictory. If I'm able to give you the evidence now, that names the officers, that has the video of everything else, You know, these are facts,
But
undisputed.
But to be a full investigation, it would behoove us to have our investigating deputies to interview at some point, correct? Because you are the victim.
Excuse me, the investigation to interview the deputies in front of me, I don't choose to be there.
Actually, I didn't say that, Dan, did I say that?
But you said the deputies to interview, so how does, what does that have to do with me?
The investigating deputies, the actual investigators.
Oh, okay.
The investigators.
The investigators, I'm sorry, I thought you meant investigating the people I was.
At some point, to make it a full investigation, the investigators will have to speak to you, correct?
And why can they not do that in a public place?
Because
So that I can
at that-
videotape it.
At that point, that would be part of the investigation.
That-
So
that-
while we're,
That's my point about the failed methodology. You know, the investigators are investigating, you know, I'm talking to them, I can talk to them in a public
At this point, I
place.
think we're gonna start talking in circles, so
I
let's
think
just
so too.
clarify what we've got here right now. We have copies of the documentation that you provided regarding
I understand.
materials that you want to use to back up your allegations,
Correct.
correct? So that's number one. Number two, we're gonna have to follow up and get the form that you started to fill out, in which we do not know, we meaning all of us here at
Correct.
this table, we do not know if it was completely filled out or not,
Correct.
correct? So that's something we'll have to follow up.
And then we
on
can
that issue.
finish filling it out if it does need to be finished in a public place, and I can help you with that, so that there can be no circumvention, and it can't be said that, you know, it wasn't filled out to stop the investigation, you know, so that it won't fail in that
Yes,
methodology.
completely follow up on that. Now, the contact information that you provided on the form,
That's there,
that's all
everything is
valid?
correct. Yes, of
Phone
course.
number, address, okay.
Of course, of course. So now, let me ask you a few questions. Can you go down with me today to 101 Grove and pick up this bogus stay-away order? So I can get a copy of it? Because when I wrote them, they said it didn't exist, and I have it on videotape, and I have your officer claiming that that was a valid order, and that's why I wasn't allowed access and accommodation. Will somebody go in with me to advocate for my rights and get my copy, or do we once have to go through another procedure?
Well, actually, obtaining that material would be part of the investigation itself. It wouldn't be something that we would do, myself or the captain would do. If you're speaking about patient advocacy, now, correct me if I'm wrong, because you may have more knowledge about Department of Public Health than I do. However, I believe that there is an actual patient advocacy office in the Department of Public Health.
You are absolutely correct. Now ask
So have
me,
you accessed anything
now ask
there?
me who is above patient advocacy, organizational-wise,
I
who
believe
they
it's-
follow, who they're under, basically.
I don't know who.
Would you believe risk management?
Okay,
So now, patient advocacy is the entire antithesis of risk management. So it's a little queer that risk management should be over them,
okay.
you know, basically snuffing out whatever advocacy
Well, for
might be
clarification
afforded.
purposes, you're talking about risk management of Department of Public Health, correct?
Risk management is risk management regardless of which department.
So are you telling me at this time that you haven't contacted patient advocacy as part of your process?
I wish not to answer. I've contacted patient advocacy in the past and never been helped by them. So, you know, what I'm telling you at this point is that that dead-end referral, I've already tried that failing methodology. And I have the paperwork